The Comedian is a returning shotgun from Destiny 1, come back as one of the Nightfall weapons in Season of the Lost. It's a great shotgun, can roll with some great perks, good for both PvP and PvE content. Well, today I'm going to be checking out the weapon, its stats, the perks, plus a look at how to get the Comedian in Destiny 2. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And if you enjoyed this week in video games, consider becoming a channel member by hitting that join button down below. Well, the Comedian is a legendary energy shotgun with an aggressive frame, meaning this one is hard hitting with high recoil, and you get an increased rate of fire after a kill. So looking at the stats, we've got 80 for impact, 35 for range, 31 for stability, 37 for handling, 42 for reload speed. It's a 55 rounds per minute shotgun with 4 in the magazine. It's a really good impact stats of 80, and the reload speed of 42 isn't bad either. Well, next up, let's have a look at the Comedian God Rolls to chase. So for PvP, Rifled Barrel, Assault Mag, Subsistence, Vorpal Weapon would be a decent roll, and that is the most popular roll out there at the moment in the community. So Rifled Barrel gives you that increase in range, whereas Assault Mag gives you more stability and increased rate of fire. Subsistence reloads from reserves after a kill, and Vorpal Weapon is really good for killing Guardians in their super. For PvE, Smoothbore, accurized rounds, hipfire grip, and Trench Barrel be really good. So Smoothbore gives you increased range, accurized round, again, more range, hipfire grip increases accuracy, stability, and precision hit targeting when firing from the hip, and Trench Barrel gives you increased damage after a successful melee hit. Well, next up, let's have a look at how to get the Comedian in Destiny 2. So to get this one, it's a random drop from the end of Nightfalls, and the higher the difficulty of the Nightfall, the more likely this one is to drop. So for example, I was running Legend Nightfalls, and I got this one on my 3rd try, so it wasn't too much of a problem to get. But one thing that has changed this season is that there are pairs of weapon available for Nightfalls rather than just one. So we're going to get a newer weapon paired with an older one. For example, this week we've got the Comedian and Shadow Price on offer in the Nightfalls, and next week you might have Hothead and Hung Jury, something like that. So the advantage here is we get more loot. However, the drawback is it's slightly hard to target farm Nightfall weapons, given we've got 2 weapons rather than 1. Although another good advantage this week is that it's double Nightfall loot, so I would jump in there before reset next time and get those double rewards. Well, next up, let's have a look at some builds for all classes with the Comedian. So the Comedian would be pretty good in void-focused builds, so let's have a look at some examples for each class. So each build is going to be focused on the Comedian in the energy slot for the weapon, and then you've got other void elements for each class. So for Titan, I'm going for Bottom Tree Sentinel with Doomfang Pauldron. For the weapons, you can have anything in your kinetic, but in the power slot, I'd use Crown Splitter. And for the mods, I'm using Elemental Well mods, so specifically Elemental Ordnance and Font of Wisdom, and also Lucent Blade 2 because of that sword. So Bottom Tree Sentinel and Doomfang has been a popular build for a long time. So Doomfang allows you to run around replenishing your super, extending its duration, making this massively effective in PvE content. So add the Comedian and Crown Splitter and some Elemental Well mods. You're going to be creating Elemental Wells and the Void kills. Pick them up, and through Font of Wisdom, you're going to be able to get your super energy nice and quickly, allowing for more Doomfang super fun. Well, next up, the Warlock. So here we're using Bottom Tree Voidwalker with Nezrak Sin. So you can have anything in the kinetic slot again, and in the power slot, I'm using Deathbringer. So for the mods, I'm using Elemental Well mods again, and Argent Ordnance for that extra rocket damage. So Bottom Tree Void Warlocks and Nezrak Sin again is a classic combination. That'll improve your time in PvE no end. So Argent Ordnance also makes rockets even more powerful, plus Deathbringer and its Catalyst. It is a massively destructive combination. And finally then, for the Hunters, we're using Top Tree Void, Orpheus Rig, so anything in the kinetic slot, and then Quickfang in the power slot, Elemental Well mods again, and finally Lucent Blade. So Top Tree Void, Hunter and Orpheus Rig, another great PvE combination for Hunters. Add in Quickfang, that was a sword added last season, and also Lucent Blade to that combination with the Comedian, and you're going to be laughing at how easy PvE actually is. Well, that is it for the build. So we've had a look at the weapon, its stats, how to get it, but finally let's have a look at the lore. So for this one, we've got the Comedian lore, and Zavala stared dully at the papers on his desk. Reports splayed out in front of him, sightings of Osiris moving toward the Dreaming City, dispatches for Saint 14 and the Crow, reams of dire investigations from Ikora. On page after page, the name Osiris jumped out at him, and then the name Savathun. He reached for an older report, something simpler, buried beneath the damage assessments from the Vex incursion in the Botsa district. The smoke from the attack had barely cleared, but it felt like so long ago. He found Rahul's analysis of the Endless Night, and it detailed how the Vex energies pouring in from their network block the sun, drain the resources of the city, and how the pulsing of their particular frequencies made the citizenry paranoid and susceptible to suggestion. Zavala resisted the urge to crumple up the report in his fist. Instead, he stood and turned to rest his forehead against a tall window, and he closed his eyes. He remembered when he ended Osiris's exile from the city and allowed him to stay in the annex. He remembered when he spoke with him about the death of Sagira, when he consulted with him on what to do with Crow, when he brought him in as counsel to meet with Keitel. And he remembered how each time the sun had been shining. Well, really interesting stuff there. So Zavala is looking back then at Rahul's analysis of the Endless Night, and he says it details the Vex energies pouring in from their newly blocked sun, draining the resources of the city, and how the pulsing of their particular frequencies made these citizens paranoid and susceptible to suggestion. And maybe Zavala is feeling guilty, because I guess without the Endless Night he wasn't susceptible to suggestion. And yet Osiris or Savathun managed to convince him to do so many things, like remove him from exile, he got Crow back into the city, and he brought him in as counsel with Keitel. So maybe Zavala is just feeling a bit stupid right now. But let me know down in the comments your interpretation of that lore, and also let me know in the comments what you think about the comedian, plus let me know which roles you got and also which ones you are chasing. Well, that is it for this guide for how to get the comedian in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. If you want to join the community, check out the Discord link in the description, or you can follow me on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.
Thank you from the old man.
The Fallen will claim nothing from this breach, not even the debris. I'm sending a fire team to seal the complex. This cannot happen again. It will not. Thanks to you, Guardian, the dream of the city lives on, without fear of weapons in the sky.